you come in as the prohibitive favorite. We haven't really seen this type of. It was very Tiger-esque, but from a standpoint, like people expected him to win, and he did. What is up, everybody? How you living? No putts given. The week after the Masters, that's why I'm wearing my black, gray.
You're in
I'm
mourning.
in mourning. It's the end of the Masters, end of the season, end of, you wait, all the build up, everything. Anyway, GolfSpy C, not GolfSpy Tony.
No, GolfSpy B.
GolfSpy Bennett.
GolfSpy
Bennett. We Tony is out on pup-paternity leave. He has a new little dog in his life. He's out, and so I'm going to bring in a cast of characters to chat through some stuff. Bennett, what is up? How's your world? What are you doing?
Oh, man. Oh, it's just been crazy. We're opening up new HQ, so trying to pack up what we got here. That's why it's a little bare bones in my office right now, but crazy. It's just been a whirlwind. I mean, content velocity is at an all new high, and I mean, I know you know that, but
oh, I do.
Testing is, I mean, the fact that we're still doing testing amidst moving headquarters too, it's just, I mean, it's been nonstop. I mean, every day, all day. So
yeah, we got a packed agenda. We got to talk Masters recap. Hit that subscribe button.
Yep.
That's helpful. Go ahead and do that for us. That'd be great. We got Masters recap. We got the good, the bad, the questionable to chat through some equipment stuff. People saw Tony Finau playing 2 drivers. What? Why? We're going to talk about that. Going to bring Philip in when we talk driver swing speed breakdown. We got high swing speed, low swing speed, some of that kind of stuff. Maybe a question or two to finish up as well. So yeah, man, let's get into it. What before we get all this stuff, what was your favorite Masters moment from this weekend?
Ooh.
Do you have a favorite moment? I know I'm putting you on the spot. I did not put that on the agenda.
It's okay. Honestly, and it was even before the weekend started, the fact that Ricky won the par 3, like that to me was very on brand. Like, and I know I had tweeted something and I'll put it up here, but okay, we'll do it again on Sunday, but it was just very much, that was Ricky's event. And I wanted it to be someone that you associate with being fun and light and just kind of carefree. Yeah. Now, granted, would I love to see Ricky in a green jacket? Yes. But the par 3 was perfect.
Yeah, and we know the history right there with the par 3. No one's ever won both the par 3 contests on Wednesday and then gone on to win the tournament on Sunday that weekend. And Ricky kept that alive.
Yes, he did.
He kept that one alive. And well, I want to chat through the Masters a little bit. Like I said, I got 3 categories: the good, the bad, and then the highly questionable. So we're going to start, as we should, with the good.
Yes.
Number 1 on my list, Scotty Scheffler.
I know.
I mean, think about this. Like, you come in as the prohibitive favorite. We haven't really seen this type of short odds, if you look in the betting world, right?
Yep.
It was very Tiger-esque.
Oh, 100%.
Again, I'm not saying Scotty Scheffler is Tiger. That's not fair to either one of them necessarily. But from a standpoint, like, people expected him to win, and he did in convincing fashion. There is nothing but goodness around Scotty Scheffler. The only downside to all this, I think players should blame Rory.
Oh, why? Tell me why.
This is all Rory's fault. Because if you remember a couple weeks ago, maybe it's more than that, and maybe it's a month ago now.
The putter.
Scotty Scheffler had that Logan Olson putter in the bag, right? He had the blade. He'd been using a Scotty Cameron before, but again, smaller Newport 2 style head, typical kind of blade answer style putter. Mm-hmm. He was struggling, and it was like, man.
It was hard. It was tough to watch.
If he gets this putter thing figured out, watch out, because, like, again, you looked at his stats. Strokes gained, tee to green, phenomenal, around the greens, but basically putting was a mess.
A nightmare. And
it's like, okay, if he gets that figured out, though, it's lights out, potentially. And, Rory made the comment, something to the effect of, like, hey,
I want to try mallet.
Mm-hmm. What did Scheffler do? What did he do?
Yep, that's right.
Tried mallet. Mm-hmm. Mallet's in the bag. And yeah, I mean, tell me another player that should be favored going into the next 3 major. Like,
there's no other option. It's
no.
Scheffler, period.
So that's good. That's good.
Rory, you're right.
Masters,
Rory does keep digging his own grave, to be honest with you.
He is. It's like, here's a terrible analogy since I love terrible analogies. I have, a lot of friends that I play with at home and stuff. I'll help them with equipment at times, help fit them, tweak, stuff. Hey, what's new? This, that, whatever. And last year we had like our match play at our course, and I helped one of my buddies before a match. I had to play him. He ended up beating me. Like, man, all right. Last time I go helping my friends,
Yeah.
Anyway, another good. The Masters just in general. Again, it's beginning of the year. The pomp, the circumstance,
tingles.
The fake bird noises being pumped
right in.
Hot take. Masters Sunday is better than Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh,
agree or disagree?
Oh, totally agree. And the coverage this year, while questionable about how you can watch when it's happening, the coverage leading up to it, I mean, you know me, I'm on social media. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking at, this
all day, day.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the creativity that's being surrounded with this tournament. And it is truly, like they say, a tradition unlike any other. Like their team this year in particular, even from just the jump from last season, they incorporated so much nostalgia, which is a huge part of really any major like that. But I just think they did an incredible job. I mean, the app, everyone raves about the app.
The coverage.
Oh my God.
It
was like watching a movie every single time. Even in a 30-second reel, I'm eating it up.
Yeah, and I get that every tournament does not have the budget that Augusta does, but with the stuff like the app and those things, like, come on, like, how does the PGA Tour not have? I mean, they found $50 million to pay people. They found money. They're getting
that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, topic for another day. But PGA Tour, like the template is there. 2 other pros for me are good. Max Homa, I know he didn't win.
Oh, I know. I actually really wanted him to.
But played with Tiger's like childhood hero.
Right.
If you go back to when he won at Riviera, the Genesis, again, Southern Cowboy, grown up, that stuff. So paired with Tiger the first 2 rounds, and he hadn't, again, Homa hasn't really played well at all in majors. So, I know he wanted to win.
Yep.
100%. But I think if you had asked him at the beginning of the week, hey, I can guarantee you a top 10. You're coming back next year, etc. I can guarantee you a top 10 in the Masters this year. Take it or leave it. He would have taken it 10 times out of 10.
100%. And especially having lost his tour card twice.
Point.
When I saw him even just squeaking up on the leaderboard, I was like, this could be one of the bigger stories. And that is an underdog moment for me. And Max is just so likable,
I know. So I think, I'm sure, like you said, he didn't get the result that he wanted, but the way he's trending, this makes sense for his career.
100%.
Like I can see him winning a major in the next year for sure. 2, I'd put some serious money on that. The other good, Ludwig Åberg, first major. Is this guy the next superstar? Everybody's saying this guy is, the next bona fide superstar. There's no evidence out there to refute that. He has everything.
Right. And this being his first go around at Augusta. Are you kidding?
Second place.
Alone.
Second place.
Alone.
Second place. Alone. I mean, so I thought that was awesome. All right. We got to talk about the bad and then the questionable. To me, the bad, Zach Johnson, what is you doing?
Oh my God. What? Do you kiss your mother with that mouth? Is the question.
My bigger issue, and for those that don't know, maybe we can link to it here, whatever. Allegedly, I'm not going to be judge, jury, and executioner. Maybe kind of am.
Maybe you should be.
But basically, triple bogey, knocks in the short putt for 6 or whatever on the par 3.
Yeah.
There's some kind of needling, some not so subtle people in the stands like, oh, yay, way to go. Like,
do you think, though, because I saw this on Twitter, someone was making the argument, do you think that they partly were being encouraging, or do you think that was entirely sarcastic? Because I know how
totally sarcastic.
Okay, because I know how I
think it's totally
sarcastic.
Okay. I mean, maybe there's somebody who's totally oblivious. Like, again, if you've never been in a tournament, there's people there that would, oh, he made a putt. You clap when they make the putt,
Right.
or whatever. Okay, maybe. But basically, Zach then turns on the video. Very much looks like he turns, faces the patron from where the sound was coming, and basically tells them to F off.
100% directed. Well, the worst part about it, or keep going. Were you going to tell me
Nope,
about the
go ahead. Go ahead.
Because
that's not the part that really bothered me.
Was it the apology video?
Yes. I get it. You're in the heat of battle. You make mistakes, things like that. Is that something I could see myself doing? Sure, that could happen.
Right.
In a heat of, I get that. Is that the behavior you want? These things? No, absolutely not. But I'm not going to get on a tour player for getting frustrated in the heat of battle, whatever.
Sure.
We've all been there.
Right.
So no judgment there at all. But his apology was a case study. They should use this in some college courses on a non-apology apology while trying to protect yourself, something that you think you did or that you know you did do, but you're still trying to qualify it in such a way as to not be entirely responsible.
That's gaslighting 101.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, if there is a video, he said, like, oh, if there is video out there that shows me doing this, then I apologize.
Exactly. Well, that's just it. He was like, oh, I think what he said, he was like, oh, I'm not going to deny it if it's on film, which I guess it is.
Right.
You actively picked the ball up. You can hear the cheers. And you can see him then position himself.
You know what you did.
Exactly. His bag is back here. Caddy's already back here.
Yep.
What were you looking at?
And again, past Masters champion, tour veteran, Ryder Cup captain, last time, knows better, tends to speak from a position of, hey, I hold myself to a higher regard. I am a faith-based individual that does da-da-da-da-da. Again, behaviors happen. They get it. Just own it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mic up John Rahm and, I can't even remember what hole it was, but he...
Most of them.
Right? Just F, cool. Yeah. Okay. That's who he is.
Yeah.
Zach.
But he's not like, I didn't say that.
Zach.
That wasn't me. I was I was holding it for a friend. Right. Like that's what we're that's what we're doing now. We're holding it for a friend. Didn't love that. We'll get to questionable stuff. Just two other things really fast. Bad Sunday challengers. Morikawa makes double on 9 and 11. Fades fast. After Thursday, Bryson was exciting.
Oh my God.
And then, but it was bad news for chasers once Scotty got there. Yeah, some people got tied, etc., but went on. And then the Augusta roars. Like,
yes,
the idea, that the Masters doesn't really start till the back 9 on Sunday.
Right.
Well, it was also over. It may have started and ended pretty quickly on the back 9 on Sunday.
Oh, it was done deal.
By halfway through that, by 13, 14, there wasn't much of a tournament left.
Yeah.
Scotty went, I was watching just the betting lines and stuff like, it went from, he was minus 200, 400. And then it very quickly went from like minus 500 to like 20,000.
20,000. Easy peasy.
It's over. It's over.
He cruised it in.
Questionable.
Ooh,
the most questionable thing from the Masters wasn't Bryson picking up the street post or whatever.
God. Which, by the way,
that was pretty awesome.
One of my favorite things I've ever seen.
That was awesome.
Whether you like Bryson or not, and
that was awesome.
Granted, I did not want that man to win.
No.
But good God, is he entertaining to watch?
Wasn't that fun to watch? That was amazing. That was amazing.
Get up. Move.
Sweatergate.
Oh.
Jason Day and Sweatergate. Again, you probably already saw us, but second day had a big, as you know, he's sponsored now by Malbon, who tends to lean more into the streetwear, back to the baggy pants.
Yep.
Totally different type of vibe than maybe what some golf people are used to. But second day, he's wearing this sweater that is big, bold. Malbon is in huge print. Has like 313 up here. Again, you can look up there, but you noticed. Everybody noticed.
How could you not?
He was asked by Augusta Brass to remove the sweater. What's your take on that? Is that something Augusta should be able to do? Dictate what players wear?
Oh, look. I have a very firm stance about just dress code in general. And
I know you do. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, and like I do ride on a fine line sometimes, but this was ridiculous. This was ridiculous. In
Really?
no way, shape, or form do I think that he should have had to remove that sweater.
Why not?
Yes, the branding was big. And the only questionable part about it was the fact that maybe I can see where it said Malbon Championship instead of it being geared towards the Masters or something like that. Like, was there an angle with that? I'm not sure. Do I care? Not enough to ask him to remove it at all. You see people who have sponsorships just plastered.
Yeah, they look like NASCAR drivers.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
it looks like.
I can tell you right now, if Tony Finau had a huge Nike check, all of a sudden just started to wear big
We have
checks.
an article on this. Connor talks through some of these talking points as well. But so you're not okay with it?
I am not okay with them asking him to remove
asking him to remove
No, because
I am okay. I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
Tell me why.
Here's why. Number one, if you listen to what Jason Day said after he took it off, he talked about respect for the tournament. It became more about the clothing than the play.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
The position that Malbon and Jason Day were in was that people weren't talking about the golf, right? He put himself, in a sense, above the tournament, which I don't think any player should get to do. Now, where there's gray area, that lime, yellow, lemon thing that Sergio was wearing the day before,
not to mention
was uglier than sin, but we don't legislate ugly that same way. So I get where it's a fine line. Here's the other thing where I'm totally okay with it. It's the Masters. It's an invitational. They asked Ricky Fowler to turn his hat around. He was wearing his hat backwards. This was a number of years ago.
Sure.
He turned his hat around.
Look at that.
So if you're going to draw a line on what's respectful or decent or what isn't, if I come into your house, I remember I had a friend growing up, you went in their house, they had house shoes. You ever have a friend that had house shoes?
Yeah.
Most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard.
Oh.
So I go into their house, take off my shoes and put on their house shoes.
Right.
I'm like, what is this?
But
if I didn't want to wear the house shoes, I didn't take it as a personal affront of my individual expression or whatever. They just put on the house shoes and got on with it, just like Jason Day did. The point was made.
Oh, he definitely handled it really well, I think.
I'm fine with it.
I don't know. I think, because you had your Payne Stewarts, right? You had your Ian Poulters, who were loud and different. And I think because social media wasn't so big back then, the second Jason Day showed up, no one was freaking out about it really when we saw the original Malbon scripting we all knew what he was going to wear.
It was all theoretical at that point. Nobody really knew what it was like. Correct. What's this thing going to look like?
But the second he walked on to the grounds and he was in public view, it was all over Twitter.
Yep. And the other thing, other thing,
go ahead.
It was so again, if you had 87 other players that dressed like that, it'd be different.
Right.
Take Wimbledon in tennis. There's a white dress code, right? There is a dress code to play in that event, and you just know that. But when it takes away from the tournament, when it takes away from the golf, when the Masters are saying, hey, this is an invitation, we invited you.
Right. You got to play by the rules.
Whether you like them or not. Anyway.
I don't know. Still doesn't sit right with me.
I know. What do you people think out there? Tell us what you think.
Malbon's pushing the boundaries, but I will say this. I'll challenge you.
Challenge me.
Because people who are irritated about the Malbon kind of look, Steven's positioning the brand to that more retro-esque street style. I posted that, y'all didn't hate the baggy pants when Tiger was wearing them.
Right.
I know most of you guys had a pair of Cutter and Buck baggy ass pants with pleats in them. I know it.
I
just know
that's what I'm saying is everybody did.
Right.
Not everybody's dressing like Jason Day. He is an outlier right now.
But is it only because he's an outlier that people don't like it? Because it's not like some brand new trend. They're bringing something back that.
Well, golf does so well with change.
Right.
And people tradition and things. Golf is so accepting and easy to change.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if they were out there playing with no shirts on and board shorts.
Right.
Okay.
Then it'd just be fun.
Well,
yeah. Then it'd be
live golf. It'd just be live golf.
Great. Then it'd be great. Great to chat with you, Bennett. We're going to bring Philip in here real quick. So we're going to talk some equipment testing stuff.
Very cool.
Enjoy your week.
Thank you.
We'll catch up later. Thank you for your thoughts.
Peace out. And
just like that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Philip Bishop from our testing facility. We're going to talk a couple equipment things, Philip. But before we do that, a couple programming notes. If you're into high-quality golf, people, this week is phenomenal. And it's not because of what's going on in South Carolina. Nelly Court is going for 5 straight on LPGA. Lydia Ko is 1 win away from automatic qualification into the Hall of Fame. So that's probably going to be a good watch. But anyway, I want to talk some equipment stuff with you. We last week, Philip, we posted our article. People ask for this all the time. Once the driver test comes out, they go, oh, I want swing speed breakdown. I need to know da-da-da-da-da. So we have 2 articles to chat through. High swing speed, and that was posted last week.
Yep.
Low swing speed is going to be posted today, assuming this is on Wednesday.
Yep.
So let's talk through the high swing speed first. Give me the rundown.
All right,
let's talk the leaderboard and then talk some things about the leaderboard.
So, I mean, we're obviously taking the results of this test from our entire test, which we released about a month ago, right? So, you have, drivers that kind of stood out a little more than maybe they did in the overall test. For example, you had like Cobra Dark Speed X, which I believe got the best for accuracy. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of a standout, whereas in the overall test, it was kind of maybe nowhere to be found in terms of like a top performer, quote unquote.
Yeah, it's kind of buried in the middle.
Yeah, it's buried in the middle. And then you had drivers that excelled, like the TaylorMade QI10 LS, which was the overall winner for that.
For high swing.
For high swing speed, correct.
And just for the record, what is high swing? When we talk about higher swing speeds, we're talking what?
We're talking 105 mile per hour or higher.
So 105 and higher, which maybe skews, is maybe slightly higher than what some people might think of high swing speeds, but we're 105 and up. And again, in our testing pool, we push into the 120 range.
Yeah,
right?
Oh yeah. One of the fastest people is easily 120 or above that. There's plenty of people that fall in that kind of like 7 to 110 mile per hour range, and then there's plenty of people who fall in like that 100 to 103. And then I will say, just from the testing history of me being here, at least, is that you have plenty of guys who they might even flirt with that boundary depending on which driver they're hitting.
Sure.
So you have all those different variables going on, and I would say most people probably don't swing it as fast as they think they do. I don't know if you've experienced that yourself, or most people
once or twice.
Just a couple times. But you had a lot of those. I guess specifically, you could assume that a lot of those lower spin drivers might excel in a high swing speed category.
Yeah. So to that end, right? They said number 1 was this year's was TaylorMade QI10 LS, which again we've seen a lot of success with TaylorMade staffers playing that as well. Mm-hmm. Number 2. Ping G430 LST. So again, and what we know about LST is that it is the low spin designated model within the Ping lineup. Mm-hmm. It isn't necessarily as low spin as some other companies' low spin.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree with that.
But it is the low spin one within there.
Yeah.
3rd place surprised me a little.
Yeah, what'd you think of that one?
Srixon ZX7 Mark II.
Yeah.
I just
kind of just comes out of nowhere, and it's like, hey, I'm here. Don't forget about me.
So what's your take on that? Because we saw with Srixon, like, it isn't necessarily the one that, with tons of different materials, or obviously, and here's just another thing too, right? In general, Mizuno, Srixon, maybe a couple others.
Yep.
They don't go as big and loud and brash with advertising.
1,000%.
As we're used to with, again, other mainline U.S. brand. It's just a different mentality. It's a different process. So
absolutely.
If you're a faster player, though, Srixon should absolutely be on your list to try, right?
Absolutely, 100%. It's one of those that, it kind of, last year's testing, because we tested in 2023, It was kind of just under the radar type of driver. I think it finished like top 10 overall in our overall most wanted test. And
it's kind of that lost in the middle again.
Yeah, lost in the middle.
But not great.
Exactly. And then it's one of those things like you touched on. It doesn't get the loud marketing advertisements that, you know, TaylorMade or Callaway or Cobra might generally do.
Right.
But it's sneaky good. It's a simple design, very clean at address. One of the biggest knocks, and this is just from like a fitter's standpoint with what we do internally, is just I wish there were more shaft options, because I think it would be even better if we had more to choose from. So
again, it's not like when we're doing this test again, we're not pulling from the shaft wall of 300, you know, inline stock, custom, everything. We're going again, basically fit from retail, like what they send us and what you would mainly find in a retail.
Yeah, for example, for that one, I think we only had to choose from like the Hazardous Smoke RDX Red, which is kind of a mid in terms of spec, a little lighter, and then we have the Hazardous Black RDX Smoke, I think, or something like that.
So,
but
two different shafts, but again, not a ton of choice. The two we did see, I mean, AI Smoke, Callaway AI Smoke, the Max D was on here. We saw it as it was our, you know, number one for distance doing the overall test. Two drivers I'm going to ask you about in the high speed area. One, Paradigm, AI Smoke, Triple Diamond. Wasn't on the very, very top. Now, again, I'm testing that driver's been, it was number 2 overall.
Yeah, number 2 overall in our test with the, you know, the 35 testers, everybody included. So it's definitely a standout. So it's kind of one of those things twofold is, yes, we already know it's really good. And it's kind of, to flip the script a little bit, it's kind of like the Srixon in terms of, hey, it's not up there, but you best believe that it's a damn good driver, right?
Yeah.
So
it'd be one throw. The other one in the high swing speed area, surprised not to see on there a little bit, is Cobra. So Dark Speed LS, again, it didn't do a whole lot in our overall testing. I thought maybe when we started to segment for swing speeds, that
you would see it shine a little bit more.
Yeah, you might see
to the top.
Yeah, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Same with Triple Diamond, where it's like you're expecting to see it, especially with both Triple Diamond and Cobra having prestige with a low spin model, especially in our testing in years past. Aerojet LS was phenomenal for us last year.
It was our driver of the year too on Editor's
Choice. So what kind of drop off, if you will, not that they want to hear that, but like what kind of drop off with performance was there? Was it a little more inconsistent when you're trying to fit someone with moving those weights more forward? Maybe would it be better if there was 2 weights in the back versus 2 weights in the front? And you know, there's all these different variables. We don't design the clubs ourselves, but we get to see these little nuanced things throughout the entire testing process. Yeah,
and it's because it's not just, hey, this did good last year, it's going to do good this year. What I noticed in my own testing of the Cobra stuff is, for me, it's a little more finicky to get right.
And yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah,
and what I mean by that is like once I was playing around like with the 8 degree head, which I know we didn't test in this one, and I really like the head, but it's taken me a while to try to get it to a place where it's like, okay, this is a really good setup for me. And it's kind of,
where do you have the weight positions?
What's that?
Do you have the weight positions?
I haven't totally decided yet, but it's, again, erring towards more weight rear. So it's kind of like that half, like you remember, like with TSR 3, TSR 4, like TSR 4, you can put the heavy weight in the back, and it's kind of like a TSR 3.5. That's where I'm finding the most success with that one. But it doesn't surprise me that in this type of testing where you don't have the ability to maybe fine tune it to that little area that's going to work for the player, that it can be a tougher one to fit.
I agree. And that's kind of my whole standpoint on it, or my opinion on it, is like, hey, I know this driver has potential to be really, really good. It's just a matter of with the time constraints we have with testing, we don't necessarily have the opportunity to go through that
Yeah,
extensive
right.
of a fitting with somebody.
Right.
But at the same time, like I'd turn around and be like, hey, if you like the look of this, because we know that's going to play a role in your buying habit,
Sure.
go check this driver out, because it's versatile enough to where, okay, you can put the weight in the front, you can put the weight
You
in the
can
back.
certainly fit it. Yeah,
Yes.
you just got to be maybe willing.
Yeah.
So it'd be a good thing for a lab or something like that.
Absolutely.
Down the road.
Yeah, something like that.
Let's talk low swing speed here, because this one I was like, okay, so in low swing speeds, here's what we're learning. Ping or Callaway, and you're good to go.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's a strong betting if you want to take those odds.
So again, 105 and up is fast. What do we determine as low?
So low swing speed is going to be 90 or below 90 miles per hour.
So 89 and below, whatever. So again, maybe skews a little higher. So in a sense, the reason I really like the low swing speed one that we do is that speaks to a lot of average
absolutely.
out there. And just go through the list.
Yep.
Number one's
going to be the Ping G430 Max 10K, which again we saw it overall be extremely good.
Number one overall.
Yep, for a lot of different golfers, but in this specific category, so low swing speeds again, it absolutely dominated everybody from an accuracy standpoint.
Yeah. So it was the number one for that, number one for accuracy. Number two in this category was, again, Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Max D.
Yep.
Okay, so again, Callaway's showing up, again.
Yep.
And then
we had the Ping G430 Max. Yeah. So
which was the best for distance in this category.
Yep. So it narrowly beat out the, I'm going through checking, doing the write-up and whatever, right? And so it's like, oh yeah, I'm like looking at the data. I was like, oh, it narrowly beat it out by like a sliver. So like, it's like, oh, okay. But the Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Max D has been up there for distance in every single test or an evaluation we've done so far this year. So it was kind of like, oh, something actually beat it out. So
crazy, right? I mean, so it's like this speaks to a lot of the golfers out there, and I know what that leaves right now, and this is still coming out, is that 90 to 104. So
Yep. So that will be out, within the next couple of weeks. I think that's where you'll see a more broad range of products that are going to be in there. I think you'll see some stuff that will likely surprise you and not surprise you. But yeah, at the low swing speed though, it's interesting to see like, okay, you obviously kind of anticipate like, all right, I'm probably going to see that more max or more forgiving type of driver towards the top. But I think if you go to like 4th or 5th place, you got some kind of low spin models that are in there. So there are cases where like, okay, this driver was just exceptionally good for both distance and accuracy for the majority of these 90 miles per hour or below testers. And it just goes to show to say, okay, just because it's a low spin model doesn't mean you shouldn't try it out at least,
No.
So
no, I think, one of my big takeaways from this, and then I want to talk a couple other equipment things with you real quick, is it would be best for most golfers if you didn't pay as much attention to the designation of the driver, meaning whether it's a max type forgiveness head or a low spin designated model or a draw bias or draw enabled model. You should pay much less attention to that and pay a lot more attention to what do you need? Do you need more spin? Do you need less spin?
Yeah.
Do you need more forgiveness? Because those are not swing speed specific, right? Like,
and just for my example is like, okay, I know I'm about 100 miles per hour with my swing speed. I tend to be a very low spin driver of the golf ball. So I'm looking at either a 10 or 10.5 degree in terms of my stock loft. I might even go up from there depending on what head I'm hitting. I have a TSR3 in my bag that tends to be, it tends to manage the spin better than some other low spin heads. But I know I hit those max heads or more forgiving heads probably more efficiently because they add a little bit more spin. So it's just kind of one of those things you got to try it out. Don't knock it before you try it out, kind of thing.
And don't read into the label too much. Like, don't, I'm a fast player, I need a low spin model. Well, more often than not, possibly for certain reasons. Okay, but
and just to top on that is just like the Ping G430 Max 10K was the best driver for our fastest player in the test. So
exactly.
it just goes to show. It's just like,
there you go.
There's some mind-boggling stuff out there, and sometimes you can't explain it, but it just works out. So
2 other equipment notes that I want to chat through this week. We also have Vokey coming out with their low bounce K grind. We have the article up. Tony's going to chat through this, but
I can't even wrap my mind around that, to be honest, because I'm so used to seeing the K grind.
Yeah, if you're familiar with the Vokey lineup, K grind you've probably associated as that high bounce, like 14 degrees of bounce.
Yep, wide sole.
K grind, a lot of camber, big wide sole thing, looks like a rudder, right? Like it is the get out of the bunker free card,
or get out of jail free card.
Design, yeah. So low bounce K grind sounds like, well, wait a minute. And here's something else to make it even more confusing. It's the highest bounce of the low bounce Vokey wedges. So when you have like an L grind, that isn't in the lineup now, it's more or less gone. Yeah, that's 4 degrees. T grind also 4 degrees. Yep. The low bounce K grind is 6, so it's it's more bounce. It's the highest bounce of the low bounce wedges. But here's what it's good for, and you can read the article and tell me if you think that's interesting. But again, it has that same wide camber sole. That is the K grind, which makes it, again, very good out of bunkers, softer conditions, those types of things. If you need a low bounce wedge, because you tend to have a shallower angle of attack, and you don't necessarily like to manipulate the club very much, meaning you don't want to set it down, open the face, hood it, those type of things. You just tend to play it straight.
Setting it up square and letting it do it magic.
Set up square, hit it square. This is a really good one to try, especially if you rely on that a lot out of bunkers. Now, if you're somebody that likes to open it, now you need to start looking at T grind potentially, or more of a mid bounce like an M grind if you don't absolutely need a ton of low bounce.
Yep. Or you go the D grind with a little bit higher bounce. So you got all the options in the world.
Which, yes, again, Tony points that out in his article. Last note for the day. Here we go. We're going to leave on this because I want to hear some people give me some feedback. We saw in this bag this week, Tony Finau. 2 drivers. You go, why is that? Well, Marty Jertson, at Ping, intensely bright human being, basically saying, part of what we've seen is for guys that, let's say, hit it 300 yards or more off the tee, which, okay, that's not me, it's not you, but we're talking, largely tour players, elite AMs, that kind of thing. They saw 90% of the time, more or less, so that they were using their 3-wood off of the tee. It was predominantly a tee shot club. It was 90-10. So it's like, well, if you're going to use it 9 out of 10 times off the tee, why not get the benefit of more forgiveness? So build a shorter driver with more loft and use that as your 3-wood, if you will, off the tee. Okay. So here's my question, though. At what point in time might that still make sense to ditch a 3-wood in favor of either a second driver or something like a mini driver? Where is this a swing speed thing? Like, hey, once you get to 115, 110 miles an hour swing speed, whatever, you should really think about that? Or is it really going to be more based on how often am I using this club off the tee versus off the deck?
Or it could be specific to what type of golf course you're playing. Am I playing a tighter, more tree-line traditional golf course like Augusta National? Or am I playing a wide-open golf course in North Carolina that's got no trees around it? It all varies.
It all varies. So I would love to hear from people out there. What do you think? Like, should we drop the 3-wood? Is there a place? Is it 70% off the tee? Then I can figure something else out. Maybe I hit driver off the deck, or maybe is that where the mini driver thing kind of comes in? It's like, hey, it's shallow enough that I can hit it off the deck 1 out of 10 times, 2 out of 10 times that I need to, where, let's be honest, if I'm hitting 3-wood off the deck on my course, it's not because I'm trying to carry it. It's because I got 280 yards and it's open. And so I'm going to try to hit this thing as low, flat. And I'm not worried about having to carry it a certain number to maximize. I'm worried about just how far can I get this thing to run out.
And how far are you actually using the 3-wood off the deck?
Exactly.
So
makes me think some stuff. I don't know. Anyway, a lot of things out there, a lot of comments, a lot of questions. We had Bennett on earlier. We got Philip. Find us, follow us, hit that subscribe button. Let us know what we can do to help you out. Until next time, we out.